just logged in for the day and I'm not sure what we're going to get into yet, but I do have these 3 clue scrolls, easy clue scrolls with me, and I do want to get a ham joint, something I should have got a long time ago. But as you know, if you've been following the series, I am not a clue doer. But let's get started on these. So I ended up doing all 3 clues, getting 3 caskets. Let's rip them open now. First one, garbage. Second one, oh, some purple sweets, that's nice. And the third one, we got a collection log, bronze, plate, legs, G. Alright, that's gonna go in the POH, I think. Logging in today, I was hoping to get some raids going with the clanmates, but it appears nothing is going on at the moment, so I guess we'll continue doing our Slayer to 1000 Slayer streak. Cave bugs, we're gonna head to the Lumberage Swamp. We just picked up a spider's task from Aya. Now I believe you can do Araxxor and you can do Spindle, Venenatus, Arachnus, so I have a few options here. Which one do I want to do? I decided with the spider's task, I'm going to take my talents to Araxxor. Now there's 2 possible setups I can go with here. I can either go with the crush setup with the scythe, because I do have an Inquisitor's top, but of course in this setup I would be wearing the Torva plate legs. Alternatively, I can keep my scythe on slash and wear oath plate. I had to run the numbers in the DPS calculator here and it was actually pretty close. But it looks like my crush setup ever so slightly out DPS's the slash setup with oath plate. So I'm going to be rocking with what I'm wearing right now, the Inquisitors. Alright, I think I figured out my inventory setup for Araxxor. Now we're just doing a small smiter's task, but eventually we're going to find ourselves doing big Araxxor tasks anyways. So I might as well have set one up. So I have the Inquisitor's top and Torva legs like I mentioned earlier. This is going to be a crush setup. And then I have the Elder Maul and the Dragon Claws as my spec weapons. And then to deal with the, I forget which colored eggs there are, but I'm going to have to use the Heavy Ballista in combination with my Dishonest Cape to deal with some mechanics at the boss. And then of course I have my extended anti-venom pluses, my divine super combats, some prayer potions, Karamons, and I'm even going to bring a surge potion. I'm sure I'm going to be able to use those a few times just for more spec. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the reason why I had to look all of this up again and figure things out is because I haven't been back to Araxxor since about the first month of its initial release. One more adjustment to the inventory setup, we added a ranging pot in our inventory. I believe we might need to use that in combination with rigor to reach a certain damage threshold. Alright, well, here we are in the cave. I don't really remember anything about Araxxor. It looks like I have some tile markers in here, so let's just see what happens. I think I'm supposed to drag it. Well, clearly that was bad timing. Taking massive damage already. Okay. This is coming back to me now. What am I supposed to do here? I'll death charge, and then I think I can just Elder Maul this one. Yeah. Oh, we're in rage phase, I think. No, we're not. Now we are. Oh. Let's not die here. Okay. That was not the best, clearly, but just going through those mechanics again, I think it's gonna come back to me fairly quickly. Now we are gonna be harvesting here. We got 2 dragon maces. Alright, our inventory looks good for another KC, to be honest. Alright, we have to TP out just after 2 KC because I took so much damage. By the time I properly relearn this boss, this task is going to be over. So it's probably not going to be until we get a proper Araxxite task that we're going to actually relearn the boss. Alright, what is the special attack for the white egg? That, okay. We got a red egg second, so I think we want to lure over to the 3rd egg. Right? That should explode it. Yeah, it's 1 HP though. What? And there we go. Much cleaner KC this time around. 2 rune kites. A few more KCs in now, and I think I'm beginning to figure it out again. I just realized I'm supposed to be ranging the white eggs, the one that does reflect damage, and then for the green one, I think I kind of have my choice whether I want to Elder Maul, smack it, or range them. But for the white egg, in order to avoid the reflect damage, I definitely want to range them with the ballista. Another KC down, a 108 that time, which is somewhat close to our 101 PB of the past. So we're getting into the swing of things here. We are once again back at hard mode top, where we really don't have any other purpose than to go to the 2000 KC cape, which actually I can also do regulars in. At this point, I think I'm about 600, 700 KC away from the 2000 KC cape. Also, I would like to say I'm here for the purples to make some money, but I can't remember the last time I made any money here. So yeah, we'll just see how this goes. Oh yeah, a kit. Okay. KC 563, we get ourselves another holy kit. Let's take a look at the collection log here. That is our 6th holy kit. Bro, I'm so sick of spam clicking these barriers, man. Like, I just need these rooms to start. Okay, it's actually over. Dude, what is going on, man? I'll sip this brew to save myself the 100k, man. I have more brews than GP. Well, not actually, but you know. I do have a lot of brews. After a quick reset, here we go again. There's another reset. This hasn't happened in a while. This is quite unfortunate. Alright, another raid went terribly wrong at Maiden, so here we go, 3rd time's the charm. Alright, we go again. These are some very interesting raids. Bro, this has got to be the worst hard mode top session, like, since we, like, first learned. This has got to be the worst session in a long time, bro. I legitimately think we got, like, 2 completions. Anyways, what was I doing before this? Bro, no way this guy says finally someone woke the heck up. We were literally in a raid. You know what? Next time you ask something, I ain't saying. Needless to say, the hard mode top session did not go well in the slightest. So with that being said, we're going to go back to Araxxor here, finish up our task. Our spider's task that has 15 remaining. We started out at 28, so I think we got 13 Araxxor KC. KC 781, we get an Araxxite head. I don't know how many of those we have, actually. Let's take a look real quick. That is our 3rd one. Okay, and let's TP out of here before I plank, because I was not ready for that. Working on the last KC of the task right now. Let's see what we get to close out this task. And 28 Araxxor slain. Harvest the loot. And we get 5 rune 2 hand swords for the road. We are back at a familiar location. Got myself a skeleton's task, so we'll be doing Calvar'ion for a couple of KCs here. We're not actually going to get too many KCs because these skeletal hellhounds that spawn, 4 of them per KC, do count towards the task, unfortunately. So you can see we went from 28 to 26 already. So realistically, each Calvar'ion KC is 5 KC on my Slayer task. So what, we're going to get like 4 to 5 KC here, just real quick. But hey, a couple hours after my bingo ended, I ended up getting the pet here. So we'll just see what happens. Maybe we finally get the blade. Just finished up that skeleton's task. Right now, in between tasks, I'm just doing my birdhouse run, hoping to grab some easy clues here, actually, so that I can work my way towards a ham joint. I really don't want to do thieving at the ham hideout for easy clues. I mean, it's thieving, and I just simply don't like thieving. I'm hoping to get the ham joint passively. Looks like our next task is 22 dogs. Now, I've been wondering, do the hellhounds at Calvar'ion count? I guess we'll just have to find out. Alright, moment of truth here. Back at Calvar'ion, first KC of the trip. And looks like it doesn't count. It does not count towards my Slayer task. Interesting. Well, you know, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do this trip anyways. I mean, I made the effort of hopping like 50,000 worlds to find an open world. And I geared up again, so... You know what, let's see if we can pull the blade. We've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left on our last divine dose. We brought 2 full super combats in. So that was about 40 minutes. We're gonna come up on 40 minutes at Calvar'ion here. Unfortunately, nothing to show for. And I miscalculated. I thought we would reach about 2200 total KC, but looks like we're not. I mean, I could continue this task with the super combats I have in my inventory, but I'm also a bit low on food, and that could be risky, especially if a PK shows up. So we're probably going to end the trip after 1 or 2 more KC here. Here we go, last KC of the trip, 2183, and we get Death Runes and some lighted super restores. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Completely brand new day now, and I gotta start in the login session, of course, by picking this whiteberry bush that we planted quite literally years ago in the early days of this account. This trusty bush patch at the RD monastery. I wonder how many whiteberries I've gotten from this bush patch. I don't really pay for protection on my trees these days, especially just for the farming contract, but it looks like our yew tree died, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to replant one for our farming contract. A little bit unfortunate there. It's okay, though. We have plenty of yew saplings. Of course, after the farming contract, we have to make our way over the fossil island to do our birdhouse run. Let's see if we can get our hands on any easy clues. Nothing from the first one. Well, it looks like we would have received a beginner clue, but we don't care about those right now. We're currently working on easies in an attempt to get ourselves a ham joint for phosani's nightmare. So I guess tonight we're picking up where we left off, and we're going to continue doing Slayer tasks to get to the 1000 Slayer task streak. Right now I'm on a zombie task, and whenever I get this, I just come here to the place next to the ectophile, or the ectofunctus. This item is called the ectophile. And this is where I do a zombies task. But right now, I'm actually thinking, can I do Vorkats with this task? Because Vorkats is technically a zombie, I think. I don't know, though. I don't plan on doing any Vorkat anytime soon, though, I don't think. As I'm working on this wolves task right now, I was just thinking about how slow this actually is. At least for the standards of a point boosting task from Aya, it's pretty slow. I'm honestly having to wait for these wolves to respawn. I don't know, there might be a different location to do these now, not sure. But either way, it just occurred to me right now in real time, they recently made a blog post saying that they're going to introduce individual block lists per Slayer Master. So that's going to be pretty good, actually, pretty game changing. A huge, I don't even know if you call it a quality of life thing. It's just a straight buff to how Slayer works, I think. So we're going to be able to set up a point boosting or point skipping task, and then we can also set up a block list for Kurdo, which is the Slayer Master that we're usually going to go to more times than not. Okay, a little bit of an interesting one right now. So after doing a birds task, I was already here. I went back to Aya, and I got myself a back-to-back task of birds. Now, I was always under the impression that you had to wear your Slayer or Max Cape for that proc to even have a chance at working. But I guess I was mistaken. It must be one of those RuneScape rumors or like Mythbuster type stuff, because I always thought that was the case. But apparently you just need it in your inventory, and then you'll have a chance at the back-to-back task procking. Well, this is unexpected. Iron Boots collection log. If there's any proof that I've never done Turiel or Aya boosting, skipping, what have you, this is it, because thousands of hours into this account, I'm just now getting the Iron Boots collection log. In fact, I got this collection log over on the second account, 416 Hero, before I did here. We find ourselves back at Calvar'ion once again. Just picked up a skeleton's task. Again, whenever I get these tasks, we're not actually here for very long because each Calvar'ion KC is going to be 5 KC on the Slayer task. And this is just a task of 22, so realistically we're going to get like 4.5 KCs. And obviously I'll stay to finish up the 5th, you know, I'm not going to leave mid KC. Who knows, maybe in 5 KC we'll be able to get our blade. We are well overdue for it. Only 2 KC in right now, but I was thinking maybe we should just stay here and use this Slayer task as, a reasoning to do a full Calvar'ion trip with our inventory, just as an excuse to do some more, right? I mean, I know I've done like over 20 hours of Calvar'ion in like the last week or so. 16 of that being during the bingo weekend. But come on, I need this voidwaker blade, you know? And the sad thing is, once I get this piece here, I'm only going to be 1 out of 3 on the voidwaker pieces. But yeah, we'll see. We'll also see if we get run in by a PK or anything like that. Because like I said, it is a Friday night right now. I had to hop a few worlds to find this location. And I mean, if I'm going to go through all that effort of hopping worlds and gearing up and having 416 Hero scout the world, maybe I should just stay here for at least one full trip. We're currently working on Calvar'ion KC number 2200. Our Slayer task of skeletons actually finished quite a while ago. And for our 2200 KC, we get a palm tree seed, which is actually not a bad drop for us. We used a lot of those up getting 99 farming on our other account. So it's good to recuperate some of those. Our Calvar'ion trip was cut short by 1 minute as a PK actually rolled in. I didn't actually notice him. He came in, and I guess I was too busy yapping and I just didn't see him. But I got away, just had to TP out with 1 minute remaining on Divine Super Combat. That's okay. Obviously, I didn't get anything, so that's highly unfortunate. But yeah, let's just continue doing our Slayer. Like I said earlier, I've been doing birdhouse runs trying to get easy clues that way. And a great way to sustain your birdhouse seeds, now I've showcased this before, but that was quite a while ago, get the seeds here at the farming guild right next to the seed vault. Just talk to Amelia, trader. Boom, and if you do this like pretty much every time before you do a birdhouse run, eventually you're just going to build up a huge stack in your bank or your vault, wherever you keep your seeds. Let's see if we can get any easy clues on this set of birdhouses. I don't actually know what the drop rate on the easy clue is from a birdhouse. For all I know, it could be like super rare and I'm just hoping. But I mean, it's an easy clue. Surely they come pretty often, commonly. Last birdhouse. Not a single clue to be seen. Anyways, let's go pick up our next Slayer task. Back at Calvar'ion once again, picked up another Skeletons task. Once again, obviously very small and short task, so Slayer task-wise, we won't be here for long, but we made the effort to get here, so we'll just do one inventory, which, if all goes to plan, should be a 40-minute trip. And once again, coping. Voidwaker Blade is surely around the corner. Mildly interesting, but we just finished up KC 2222. No blade. So I actually had to TP out of this trip. I just got back here, and it was the same PKer that showed up on my last trip like hours ago at this point. And the best way I can put it is like PKers in the Wildy going after people at like the Wildy bosses, they're like literal mosquitoes, and I can't imagine thinking about it from their POV. Like they spend hours just constantly world hopping and checking the entrances to these bosses. Like, I don't know. And I think my scout's about to get PK'd, yep. By a different guy. Weird. Genuinely weird behavior. He's actually splashing on me, which is kind of hilarious, considering I have 50 defense. Yeah, so the same PK rolls up. You know, he had his boy PK my scout, and he instantly comes in, teleblocks me, and I tank him to the wilderness line. What a giant waste of time, man. This is why I don't like the wilderness. Like, he gets nothing, I get nothing. We waste each other's time. Well, I guess I'll move on to the next Slayer task. So we just picked up a bears task, 16 only, but I do have to consider Artio here. And if I'm not mistaken, Artio doesn't have little minions or like mini bears there, unlike Calvar'ion where it has those hellhounds. So I think this should be 16 full KC. I don't actually remember how to do Artio. I've only gotten like 1 KC there or something, so I'm gonna have to figure this one out. Looks like we're heading to Artio, and unfortunately we don't even have enough Artio KC to peek the cave, so I'm just going to have to jump in there and see if the world is available. It is. Well, is it? I think it is. Alright, here we go. I have to pray range, try to freeze Artio. Oh, that's not good. Off to a terrible start. Okay, we got a freeze. Let's get our range pot going. What's our Artio KC? Do we even have any KC? Looks like we don't. You know, I thought I've been here before, but I guess I never got a KC. First ever Artio KC, apparently, and we get an uncut Dragonstone. Now, if the drop rates are anything like Calvar'ion, this was a 1 in 64, which is not great. Wow, and it respawns quick. If that respawn felt quicker than Calvar'ion, I don't know. Okay, we got back-to-back uncut Dragonstones. There is a PKer outside, and off I go. Wow, 2 KC in, and there's a PKer. I love the wilderness. Wilderness bosses are never too complex anyway, so I guess I figured it out in just 2 KC. But sadly, we got interrupted by a PKer right away. But our task is pretty small, just 14 more to go. Let's even get lucky here at Artio. Surely the luck is better than what we have so far at Calvar'ion. Alright, 6 KC in now. I'm fairly confident I know how to do the boss. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. It is a wilderness boss after all. But I've realized that the mage attack is incredibly punishing, so I do have to watch out for that. I got absolutely baited by this combat task. 9 KC, we get Callisto Adept. You know, that must mean I have like 1 Callisto KC or something at some point. Must have been so long ago because I don't remember that. With just 2 KC left on task, turns out I ran out of water runes to freeze Artio, so I had to TP out. We'll grab a couple more water runes and head back. In the future, though, I will probably do some LMS, stack up some ice barrage stacks from LMS. But let's just finish this task real quick. Final KC of the task. We get ourselves 60 super compost. Looks like there is some crossover on the drop table between Artio and Calvar'ion, but there's also some different stuff. For example, here in the looting bag, we just got a 55 red dragonhide drop. Time for another birdhouse run, and it's looking like I may have to just go to Ham Hideout and do some pickpocketing if I want easy clues, because once again, no easy clues. We did get another beginner clue scroll roll though. Anyways, we just picked up a rat task, so what that means is we're going to go to Skirmishes for 15 KC. A little bit less because we're probably going to slay the mini rats that are there as well. So for the longest time, there was one combat achievement at Skirmishes that we didn't do. And that was the one where you need the Ratbane weaponry, and that required a Skirmishes spine. I guess in the amount of KC it took to get Skirmishes champion, which is just 10, we didn't get a spine, which is honestly expected because the drop rate on it is like 1 in 30, I think, somewhere around there. So we were never able to do the Sit Rat combat achievement, which is to finish off Skirmishes with a Ratbane weapon in a private instance. So we finally have the Skirmishes spines. In fact, I've had them for quite some time now, but I never got around to making them. So let's go ahead and make... Well, first of all, we have to make a rune mace first. I skipped a step. Rune mace, there it is. It turns out it only requires 1 bar. I thought it would take 2, but... Oh, let's just make the 1. And I don't know if I can combine it right here, or do I have to take it to the NPC? Looks like I'm going to have to take it to the NPC. One moment. Okay, looks like I was mistaken. There are 2 options. If you lack the smithing level, you can take it to the NPC just outside the Skirmishes lair. But if you do have the smithing level, which I would certainly hope so, having 99 smithing, I can use it on an anvil. And there we go. It combines the rune mace and the Skirmishes spine to make a bone mace. Now let's get geared up for this Skirmishes task, which should only take a couple of minutes, to be honest. Alright, I've made my way over to the Skirmishes lair. By the way, the NPC in question is Historian Aldo, quite literally right outside. Anyways, let's head in. I do have to go into a private instance specifically for this combat achievement. So let's make sure we do that. Let's pot up, and I believe this combat achievement specifically says to finish it off with one, so I think we're free to dump some Dragon Claws right now. And I suppose after this combat achievement is done, all that remains is the Pet Clog, which if we come to Skirmishes every time, or most of the time we get a rat task from Aya, the KC should build up nicely over time. Oh, a nice thing about the Ratbane weapons is that there's like no tick delay when you work on those mini rats that spawn. There it is. We got the sit rat combat task. A 1-pointer. We are one step closer to Grandmaster, I suppose. I'm not sure why I TP'd out when I still have the Slayer task to finish, so back we go. Just picked up a Scorpion's task, and the boss alternative for this task is Scorpia, but personally, I don't see a reason why I want to do Scorpia. But if you do, by all means, do Scorpia. It is in the multi-zone of the wilderness, though, so good luck with that. We are back at the Enclave, and I'm gearing up once again for some Calvar'ion, because once again, we have another Skeleton's task, and like we've been doing, we're just going to do one inventory's worth of Calvar'ion. I wonder if the same PKer is going to show up again, but I think this is going to be the last thing I do for tonight, and then we'll pick up the grind again tomorrow, but let's just see what happens on this Calvar'ion trip. Well, this is incredibly unfortunate. We just got a dupe Skull of Edion and KC2241. So after getting that drop, I pulled up the wiki to refer to the drop table. As it turns out, the Skull of Edion is a 1 in 618. I thought it'd be rarer than that. For whatever reason, I thought it was rarer than the voidwaker blade, but I guess not. So I guess I'm technically dry on Skull of Edions because I'm nearing the drop rate for 4, honestly. And I'm just now getting the second one. Okay, I originally had like 12 restores in my inventory, but I did a silly thing and put them all in my looting bag. So along with the divine timer we have right now, this is likely going to be our last KC of the trip. Wouldn't it be convenient if we just get the blade on the way out, right? Bro, the clan chat spamming KGB with no context is crazy, bro. Last KC of the trip. And we get ourselves some coins. Let's get out of here.